14. We are talking married at first sight, guys. Paul opens this up at the beginning because it's stay or say goodbye usually, and that's referring to one of these couples ending. And the couple in question is Nick and Courtney. And I think we all agree when we say they shouldn't have been paired together in the first place. Okay. She is just not a happy woman. Okay. She was making me miserable. She was making Nick miserable. Everybody was miserable in this situation. Paul says, would you like to end your marriage tonight? And we left off on that season or episode 13 cliffhanger. Courtney says, I don't know. And Lisa asks what everybody else thinks, which I don't know why she would ask that, because really and truly, the only two people's opinions that matter here is going to be Courtney and Nick's. What everybody else got to do with their relationship? Like, I don't know what she was getting at with that. But Tori says, why waste time? That's true. You are wasting time. Y'all know y'all ain't going nowhere together. Period. Paul says that what you've done tonight, or, it's sad, but at the same time, you're making the right decision for yourselves. Very true. Nick says, I'm very grateful or thankful that I went through this experience with you when they get outside. And did y'all notice Courtney's reply? Because Courtney says, oh, now you want to cry? Now that it's ended, you want to show this side of yourself? And I think that's very telling of who she is, antagonistic to the core. She does not know how to let Nick have any type of emotional anything without criticizing it. He is allowed to feel sad that his marriage has ended. Nick is allowed to feel whatever he wants to feel and to cry if he wants to, when he wants to, but she wants control of that. And I hate that for him. I thought it was normal for somebody to cry when a relationship ends, but apparently not to Courtney. Courtney is abrasive at best and just straight up rude and nasty, if you're being realistic with what she is. Nick says, is this because I didn't cry in front of you before? Courtney's response is, you don't have to cry, but it's like what, girl? Like what, my friends? Because you need to let me know what you expected from him. I do believe that Nick was right to call her out as well, that no matter what he says, she's going to manipulate that and turn it into something that it's not. Courtney definitely was trying to manipulate what he was saying and make it seem like he was just staying in the relationship for his own personal gain. What was he gaining by being with you? You're rude and nasty. Hi, welcome in, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Make sure you guys drop down in the comments and say hello, because it's quiet over here, babes. It's quiet. Courtney then walks away after this whole discussion. And when she walks away, Nick has to call her back in and say, you don't want to hug me? You don't want to hug me? I definitely think that that's part of the issue, is that their whole relationship, Nick was searching for some closeness and Courtney wanted to make it as distant as possible. Don't talk to me. Don't deal with me. Don't hug me. Don't try to get physical with me. Definitely don't cuddle her, because she will have a fit, baby. If you cuddle with Courtney, her soul comes out of her chest. She hates that. And I think it's very telling as well that at the end of the scene, they go into their little confessionals and Courtney has nothing but negative things to say. I deserved better. He should have shown up better for me. He could have done better by me. And I want somebody that supports me and I support them. And however, you see Nick on the other side, and his confessional is saying how he wishes that, he could have found love in this, and he's still looking for it. He hasn't given up hope. He still wants love. And he said not one negative thing about Courtney. Now that's the end of their scene and the end of their relationship. So I'm going to open the floor up for the live chat to talk. YouTube, if you guys are over here, let me know. Say hello. I don't see anything coming up through that chat. And so to me, that's is the chat not working? If you guys are over here on TikTok, if you could turn over or change over to YouTube, that is very, very helpful to the live host, because this counts towards our 4,000 watch hours. So if you are a part of the TikTok community and reality royalty, please either turn it on another streaming device or your TV, and you can play it there on mute, or switch over to YouTube. However, you wonder why the experts didn't call her out for how she spoke to him. And Courtney had her eyes on Adam. So the most simplistic explanation is Courtney had her eyes on Adam. I think that that's very simple. However, looking at it from the outside in, I wonder if Courtney struggled with an inability to calm herself, and she's looking for the adrenaline that someone like Adam can provide. I wonder if that's what it is more so that she's looking for adrenaline. She's looking for that rush and that thrill that she's not getting, that topsy-turvy type feeling when it comes to her relationship with Nick. It was just far too stable. And because of that, it didn't feel good to her. He didn't hate her enough. He didn't treat her bad enough for her to be interested. Adam probably would have made her feel very uncomfortable. They would have had fights. And I think that that is what she was looking for. So I don't think that that's anyone's fault per se, but I do think that it's Courtney. Courtney is just the problem there. Welcome in, everyone. If you are on this side, can you say hello? Just drop hello in the chat. I want to make sure that the chat is actually working. If not, I can leave and come back in. Nobody's answering. Somebody on this side, can y'all go over to the YouTube and drop a hello? Okay. Gabby said hello. So the chat is working. Thank you. Oh my goodness. All right. So not over here, Candace. I'm on YouTube streaming. And so I need somebody from here to go over to YouTube for me, because I'm not sure what's going on in the YouTube world, if people are just not as comfortable saying anything back. But yeah, I think because I was trying to sign in myself, which I can still do that and talk to you guys, but I didn't want to hold you up. Okay, I can see myself. Can I comment though? Yes, the chat is working. Natalie, thank you. All right, so the chat I think is working because I can see it. Yeah, the chat's working. Okay, they're just silent, whatever. And then for you guys, I wonder if why the experts didn't call her out. I think it's because it didn't feel threatening to them. One of the things I'm starting to realize is a lot of what you guys are doing, even in these online spaces and conversations, is who feels the most threatening to you from your personal experience. And that person is going to constantly get called out, meaning you guys see men as threatening. So you guys do a lot of calling out of people like Shawn. You do a lot of calling out of Mecca. You do a lot of calling out of Adam. Like, I've seen all these different commentary pages talk about all the men. I do not see them calling out the women a lot. Now, the Black women I see do call out the white women, but honestly, I don't see them calling out Nikki for some of her poor behavior, and I don't see them calling out, well, Belle hasn't really given us anything yet. So I think that we're just harsher critics when it comes to people that we deem a threat. And the men on this show are a threat to the women watching. So they're going to get ridiculed really harshly. And that's just what I'm finding. Courtney's not a threat. Okay, no, Courtney did not like Nick from day one. Courtney thought that he wasn't just up to her standards, and I think that she puts herself on a pedestal. Courtney believes that she is the bee's knees. She believes that she is superior to other humans, and in a way that I find condescending and disgusting. However, that is how she moves through the world, and she's comfortable being condescending. Dominique, I can't stand Courtney. Rude, and she has to have a man that will dog her and she will chase them. I believe you. I believe that, Dominique, as well. I believe that Nick was just a little bit too kind, too friendly for her liking. Hey Trey, welcome in every berry. How are you? She's MAGA to the core. I don't know what her affiliation is, if she does align with them. I will say that she's just had a really hard time with accepting any type of love from him. And that's the same thing I say about Caitlyn. Caitlyn has not been a good partner to Devin. Devin keeps showing up and trying on Married at First Sight, but he's failing. And he's going to continue to fail with Caitlyn because she's not ready to receive any type of love. And that's okay. That's just how they roll. So I think they're going to be single before long again. Welcome in everyone for joining. We're talking Married at First Sight, season 20, episode 14. I hope everybody's pretty caught up on this episode. So who do we want to talk about next? Tori and Philippe, maybe, because they gave us the most drama this particular episode. I don't think Shawn and Nikki didn't do it for me on episode 14. I don't even know where that episode ends before we go into the next one, but let's go Tori and Philippe at this group session. Okay. Felipe's, I keep calling him Philippe. Felipe's indecisiveness is not something that Tori wants to help him work through, and I wouldn't either, girl. When you know you're the prize, why would I sit here and diminish myself by trying to make you connect with me? Why would I work that hard to make this work when I know I'm showing up appropriately in the first place? Like, why would I do that? So she's taking a very hands-off approach to her marriage at this point by just letting everything kind of blow over. And I don't actually think that that's intelligent. I don't think it's wise. I think that you can become passive in your own condition and letting things just happen to you. I do not think that Tori has to sit there and allow anything to happen to her. She is actually able to make a decision to walk away, and she's choosing not to. That would be the wiser decision. If Tori wanted to leave Felipe, none of us would blame her. We would all understand that, hey, you don't deserve this. And you've put in the work. You came here with a level of emotional maturity that you shouldn't let this man snub out of you and take your joy and your light. Nobody would blame her for leaving. So looking at this, I'm not going to sit up here and be like, oh, I love what Tori's doing. No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Sorry, y'all. No, ma'am. Okay. What I'm going to say instead is that she's doing nothing wrong, but she's also being extremely passive in the wrongdoing that's being done to her. And for some people, that's just not enough. Like, it's not enough for me to just say, I know I deserve better. So what are you going out and doing to get better? Because that's the real question. What are you doing to get the better that you say you deserve, Tori? And nothing is the right answer. Then we see Paul step in, and Paul is calling Felipe to the floor. He's not having it. He's basically saying, you're telling me you want more, right? Like, you want more women. You want more physical intimacy with different women. And you signed up for a marriage. Felipe starts this like roundabout speaking again, where he's like, I kind of want to be married, but I can't have it all. What kind of answer is that, my friends? What kind of answer is that? Because for me, it is a non-committal answer. You either want to be married and monogamous or you do not. And nobody's blaming you for either option. You just have to stand on business about that option. What I also hear is Paul calling out that flip-flop at the same time. And it just gives, you're not ready. And that's the honest answer as well. Felipe may have been recruited for this. We'll never know if he applied or if he was recruited. But what I can honestly say is that he doesn't seem ready to be a good partner to Tori. He seems extremely selfish. He seems self-centered. He seems like he's more worried about his nightlife and having fun than he is with having a relationship. That's my concern. Tori deserves better. Tori keeps saying this whole line about it feels like emotional manipulation and selfishness. It is selfish. Um, and I tell y'all words mean things, and actually, he's gonna call her out on it later on. But she says, if you're in a committed relationship, you have to have a degree of certainty. And I agree with that, because every day you have to be willing to make a choice that your partner is your person. You're not going to deviate from that. You're not going to find something new. You're not going to get sick and tired of them and leave. That's what marriage is choosing the person every single day. And he doesn't seem committed to that process. And that's what concerns me. Um, Paul tells Felipe, 1 year from now, would you be more disappointed if you saw her with someone else or you were lonely again? And Felipe says, if I saw Tori with someone else. And I'm not sure what the goal of this was. Like, if he had answered that he would have been more upset that he was lonely, would that have been better or worse? Because I don't really know what he was trying to get at there, besides the fact that either way, these are selfishly centered questions. I'm more interested in, are you excited every day to get up and do the work of being a husband? That's the question. Um, the question isn't whether or not you want Tori to be with you, or whether or not you want Tori for whatever reason. No, no, no. Are you excited every single day to get up and make the decision to be a husband? If the answer is no, then we have to reconsider. Okay? That's what the question should have been. Now, I'm going to pause here because I want to say something. Guys, I need y'all to go to YouTube. If nobody else is in here, I need y'all to go to YouTube and That's So Trending, and I need y'all to log in there and do the live there, because I'm live streaming from both. But I'm trying to get y'all used to being on YouTube, because hopefully I can shut this TikTok platform down and go straight to YouTube. That is the ultimate goal. So do me a favor, sign into your YouTube account and watch me from that page, okay? Thank you so much, because I'm streaming on both. I hear y'all. I see your questions in the chat, but I want to make sure too that I am getting through this in an organized manner, so that way we can run back to your questions at the end of each couple's little segment with the therapist, or I guess it's the experts. So, Tori makes it clear that she understands that Felipe likes her enough to continue in the process, but she doesn't know if he will take care of her emotionally in that, right? And that's the bigger question, Tori. Now we're getting down to it. And I don't know why the experts haven't taken the time to actually shift that focus. Felipe, what are you doing to meet Tori's emotional needs? And the answer is nothing. Felipe doesn't care. Tori says, I just want to kind of rest, as you should. But I don't think you should rest with this man. I think you should leave. I'm sorry. I think you should leave, because this isn't going to work. Paul says you're hurting your partner. There's this cloud of doubt that follows you, and I've never felt that from Tori. You cannot straddle the fence here anymore. Lisa says we have just 14 days left, y'all. You need to get some type of urgency in your relationship. And Felipe says it's hard for me to convince you when you're not the person I need to be convincing. Paul said, not today, baby, and not with me. Do not be disrespectful to me. I'm trying to help you keep your marriage. Relax. Relax. And I understand what Paul meant. I just don't think this was an appropriate space to do that. While I think reality TV is interesting, I don't think you should call yourself an expert or a therapist if you can't handle a little pushback from your clients. That was inappropriate. That, like, I guess there's two sides of the same vein. I'm glad he's calling Felipe out, right? But the second side of that is it ethical? Would I ever see this inside of marriage counseling? No, you better not. Nobody should be talking to you the way that he talked to Felipe. And I feel as though, yeah, that loss of patience is what makes him just an expert and not or a coach, and not a actual licensed professional when it comes to this. And that was a loss of control that shouldn't even come from an expert. If you're really an expert, you should be able to look at someone and remove them. If they're that indecisive and it's really annoying to you, sometimes what you have to do is put it on the more decisive partner and straight up ask Tori, do you believe you deserve better? So then why are you staying for worse? Why are you staying for worse? And help her rationalize her way into a decision. Because if that's the type of man he's showing up as, if you want that, you say you settle for trash and be explicit and comfortable with that decision. But if you're not, then you need to get up and walk away. I think his loss of control there did nothing but push him into Felipe into a corner where he had to say, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to do better. That's not helpful. It's really not. And he tells him that you just need to step up. So I'm going to go through some questions. YouTube, if you guys want to drop your questions in the chat, you can. Paul did do too much. There is a much better way to go about it. And Shawn is the only one that does dates well, and he's in a sexless marriage. That's funny. And I want to say this, Jamal, there's nothing wrong with a sexless marriage. That's why I denounce it or hate the whole notion that somebody has to be in a marriage with sex or physical intimacy. There's tons that thrive without it. It's just knowing what you're compatible with. If you guys decide that that's what's best for you, love that for you. Nothing wrong with that. And Shawn and Nikki have been going on really great married date nights, I guess. And he should have been booted after being late to the matchmaking meetings. Agreed, Kiana. We would not be sitting here having this issue if they had taken his signs of being non-committal seriously. You have to take people seriously when they show you who they are. If he's showing you that he is not committed to this process, why don't you believe him? Tori is much more emotionally mature and ready than Felipe will ever be. Maybe in 10 years, maybe in 15 years, but for right now, Felipe is showing signs that he is just not ready to commit to anyone. So I don't know. It's really hard with them. Yeah, she can do what she wants to, but I wouldn't settle for that. And Felipe and Tori have another conversation though. Whoops, sorry guys. There we go. Where they talk about the fact that Tori doesn't feel like he's that into her because he's not taking great emotional care of her. And Felipe says, I like you a lot. The issue started when I realized how much I like you, and that scares me. So I just recorded my episode 14 recap, and I'm going to post that tomorrow over on YouTube. I've just got to edit it down a little bit because it's a little bit long, but I'm going to try to keep it like around 15 minutes for you guys to be able to see my full recap. But I think that he's being very self-aware in this moment. It does scare Felipe that he likes her, and it's pushing him away. Instead of him leaning into love, he's leaning out. Mecca is doing something very similar with Beljolie. Their self-sabotaging methods are just very different. Mecca is leaning into the fact that he doesn't find Beljolie attractive. That's very superficial, right? We already know that he does find her attractive, and I think he's lying to himself just to have a reason to push her away. And for Felipe, he's leaning out by not doing the emotional work necessary to keep a woman like Tori. So I think that they're both in the same or similar boats. They just don't know it. And these two are very inconsistent in a way that feels, and it's crazy because Felipe also leans out publicly. He says this whole I want to cheat on you thing very nonchalantly to the whole group, like we not gonna side eye him. But Mecca just says little one-off things. Like at first I didn't find her attractive either. She was attracted to me at 150%. I was attracted to her at 80%. Those type of things don't help, and he knows that. He knows that. Felipe says, give me a week to show you I want you. I don't know if he thought this was a free trial of Hulu or what, baby, but you don't get to purchase the subscription package later. You decided to get married, which means that you need to commit today, Felipe. You You should have been committed day one. And I don't think it's fair to ask her to wait around for you to change based on what she's seen the last 4 weeks or so. Let me see. That was it for them in that episode, though, guys. I'm going to let you guys take the floor. Let me go back up. Gabriella, in no world would a man that likes to party would be ready to settle with a woman he just met. Thank you, V Lola. I don't know what's going on with him. Well, I do know what's going on with him, but I don't think it's related to partying. I really, really don't. I don't even know that he wants to cheat. I just think he's fearful. And instead of him being direct in that and owning that, he chooses to deflect it back onto her by putting all this emotional burden on her to leave. Like, no, just say what it really is. The quiet part is, I'm scared of how closely I feel about you. I'm not used to this lifestyle, this level of commitment and responsibility. And what do? I really don't know what to do. And he's leaning out by dumping on her that he just wants to cheat on her. And I don't know. I'm not buying it. I think he's afraid of the change that this marriage would bring. It definitely would require him to step up. He can't turn to mommy and daddy for everything. He is going to have a new family of his own. I think it's interesting that even his stance on children has changed. Felipe has not been consistent on any of it, but it's because even children will require a lifestyle change, more commitment, more dedication. It would just require him to be an adult. And I don't know. He still wants to be the baby. How you gonna be an adult when you still the baby? So Felipe and Tori, they should be over. Let's talk Adam and Marissa, I guess, at this couples therapy session, because I feel like did I miss anything with Felipe and Tori though? I'm gonna give y'all a second, because I don't think I missed anything with them from their scenes, but I could be wrong. Did I miss anything, y'all? But we can go to Adam and Marissa after that. Okay, no. So I see no's. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Adam and Marissa. Lisa ain't feeling Adam. Dr. Lisa is not having it, okay? Adam puts his legs up on this table and he's looking really comfortable, very laid back. This is something that he does, I think, to downplay some of the way that he actually feels. Like, it's so like flippant of him to feel like this is appropriate in this space where people are actually trying to fight for their marriage. Here you go, feet propped up on the table, looking like you're just ready to hang out at the pool with your besties. This is not the space, my love. This is not the space. Now, Adam says that we had our first bad day, but it was my best day, and the cruise control since then has been turned off. We've been trying to really work through some of our differences. And I think, in other words, what he's saying is I'm no longer getting my way. And I don't know how to feel about that. I think Adam was totally fine in this marriage when Marissa did not have a voice. As long as Marissa is quiet, Adam is happy in this marriage. The moment she starts to take ownership, the moment she starts to find her way and navigate this in a way that actually works for her, he's pushing back. He doesn't know how to tolerate that. Unfortunately, Adam also says that Marissa has put a lot of effort into this, and she has done a lot of things that you like to do that maybe she wouldn't have normally done. And I basically feel like what he's saying is she's still taking pickleball seriously. She's still jet skiing with me, even though she doesn't like it. And that's what I need to see from her to know that we could work this out. Now, earlier in the episode, which I didn't talk about because I really did not care, Marissa's friends came over to talk to him and her separately, and they aren't feeling Adam's controlling nature because they know that she tends to fall into the people pleasing and silencing herself. And I think that it's just interesting that she's still doing that. She thinks she's grown, but she really hasn't. I don't feel like Marissa has grown a lot. And her friends have real concerns about him, and Marissa brings that up. My friends had concerns. They were not 100% all in, and he was like, "Oh, I thought everything went great." And the reason he thinks that is because Adam does not care if everything went great. Adam shows up in the world as though he owns it. Adam shows up in the world in a way that is almost like blind or oblivious to everyone else's moves around him. It's like, it's my world, y'all are just moving in it. Whatever y'all got going on don't concern me. And it is interesting how he didn't even care enough to ask them, because a lot of the times the person will ask, "Hey, does your dad actually like me?" He never asked her how the friends felt. He said, "We just hugged afterwards, so I assumed everything went great." They're being courteous. They know how to be cordial with people. And I think that he just misread that whole entire situation. Paul says, "I peeped 3 things that concern me about your communication so far. You were unaware that her friends had feedback. Marissa is surprised that she's actually meeting your sister soon because you didn't even tell her. And number 3, Adam is saying that everything's all good, and Marissa has major concerns. So how are y'all communicating? Y'all seem to be missing each other at every turn, but they're not missing each other. Adam is purposefully turning his back on Marissa whenever she speaks, and it doesn't fit into what he wants it to be. And Adam says that that's just something that they can work on. Now, I'm going to read your guys' comments. Kiana, I hope he just can't read social cues. If not, his behavior is scary. I think it's a little bit of both. I really do think even when you're direct with him, did you see how he responded in the next episode, episode 15, to Shawn? I think that you could be very, very direct with Adam and still have Adam choose not to see it for what it is if it doesn't fit the story that he wants to tell. The story that Adam wants to tell is his life is perfect and he doesn't need any type of criticism from anybody because he's already figured it out. His life is literally perfect and he's done. He doesn't need to figure anything out. He's already figured it out. Why are you talking to him about this? I've already... What possibly could you have to tell him about himself, including Marissa, his wife? Why are you talking to me when I'm perfect? And you just need to get with the program. And the problem is that Marissa is now speaking back. And he is very me centered. It is the Adam show. Hello and welcome into everybody. If you guys are watching this, I have recaps up for episodes, for the episode through episode 13. I'm going to put 14 up tomorrow, so make sure you guys are on the lookout for that on YouTube. It will be under the long form content, not the shorts, okay? Not the shorts, but under long form content. Let me see if there's anything else to be said about them in this episode, because he says he's going to work on it. So I want to see what Adam's going to do to actually work on this. Oh, yeah. At the end, they have a romantic hot tub boat date. And I've never seen one of those, okay? I have never seen a hot tub boat. But these two got a hot tub boat. And instead of them just sitting there, he has to raise the stakes. He starts chugging LaCroix like from the side of the can, like this is a beer chugging contest in hot tub with his wife. Then he goes like sideways across the hot tub to challenge her to a push-up contest. And I don't understand Adam. I don't understand what he's exactly wanting from his wife. Is it because to me, it seems like he wants a constant competitor and not a wife. A wife is someone that meets you emotionally where you are, not someone that meets you competitively. That's not the point of partnership. That's really weird. You need to get you a competitive friend who just likes to do the same sports as you. That's different. And Also, too, he never answered anything about the sister meeting his family. Did y'all notice that? He just really bypassed a lot of that because it requires him to put in effort emotionally, and he'd rather focus on the physical strength or aspect of things. Adam sucks as a husband. He is not doing great at this whole husband thing. And I don't think he's getting the same level of backlash that he should be. He's weird, y'all. This man is weird as a husband to his wife. And Marissa just, I don't know, Marissa just goes with it. Marissa does get off the boat and tell us, though, in her confessional, that she loves when he jokes, but sometimes I just want to be serious, and especially up until the last part of this, because we've only got 2 weeks to figure it out. Correct, Marissa. Correct. You are telling the truth. It is weird. Hey, Doreen. Welcome in, bestie. How are you? Welcome back. I don't think he wanted to be married either. Well, I think his view of marriage is just different from ours. It's very weird that he thinks that his wife signed up for the competition leagues with him. She didn't. She signed up for emotional safety and support. He only loves his jet skis like a woman. It's weird. His obsessions, like jet skiing and pickleball, are his obsessions. Now, the socks are one thing. I'm kind of getting used to it. He does it every time he's in water. So at this point, I'm pretty used to seeing him in socks. And I'm just like, okay, those are his water socks again, I guess. I don't really know, y'all. Again, it's concerning behavior, but it's stuff that if he wasn't so weird to her, I would let it slide. I'm okay with a weird man. Do y'all remember Bennett and Amelia? Bennett was the definition of weird, but I absolutely adored him. That was still one of the greatest marriages of all times. I remember Amelia asking him to catch an egg in his mouth, and he, instead of just catching it at the wedding, he swallowed it whole, raw and everything. And I absolutely loved their chemistry. I loved their relationship. I don't care how weird he was. Weird is not a problem. Showing up for your wife or not showing up for her is. That's where you lose me. And Amelia was weird in the best way possible. Bringing up his ex, I think it's just another weird tendency of his, right? It's a comparison thing where he can't get it out of his mind how thrilling it was to have a partner, but nobody's saying the quiet part out loud. If she was so great, you should have married her, and you didn't. So that tells me that something else was missing, and you're, instead of looking for that, you're going back to this competitive edge piece that does nothing for you. Because you could have just married that girl, and you didn't. Yes, Kiana, that was my favorite couple from that season. I absolutely thought that Bennett and Amelia were perfect for each other. Perfect. And they moved to Richmond, Virginia, and then they got divorced. So I absolutely adored them together. Now we can talk about Belle and Mecca. Belle and Mecca, episode 14, Belle and Mecca. I'm going to read through them, and then I will read through your guys' comments on them. So make sure you guys are dropping them as you think of them, because I'm going to come back through them. Belle and Mecca, Lisa asks, you and Felipe are on a similar track. And I love that she drew that comparison in there, because I almost forgot that was in my notes. So look at my girl thinking like me. I love it. Because they are both, instead of leaning into love, leaning out, and they're just finding creative ways to do that. Mecca says, I've never been in love before, but my boy don't know he's falling in love right now. Lisa says, neither of you have a healthy reference for marriage based on your parents' relationships or other family members. My concern is that you guys don't block this. And I think Belle Jolie is a lot more open to exploring it than he is, and she's bringing him along with them, or with her. Belle says, in past relationships, I feel like I initiated everything, and I don't want to make a decision he's not comfortable with in this relationship. And that's her way of saying that I kind of tiptoe around Mecca. I don't want to rock the boat, but I also don't want to take the lead. So I'm kind of going where he leads me, but Mecca is leading her in circles because Mecca's not really sure where he's going. And this is where I regret some of the teachings of the church. some of the teachings of Black communities and communities in general, and this conservative way in which men are the leaders. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. If that's not what works in your relationship, it's just not what works, right? And so sometimes you do have to take the initiative. And I don't think it makes you more masculine. I don't think it makes you more of anything, because I don't think good leadership has a gender attached to it. I don't. And so assert yourself, speak up for yourself, and say what you need, how you need it. And then it's up to your partner to kind of comply or get lost. These are how things work, right? And it doesn't matter who does it, because whether it's her or Mecca, just say what it is that you need. And I don't think that she needs to be so worried about his comfortability. I think she needs to be worried about their compatibility for the lifelong, long haul, right? Like, none of this other stuff matters. He'll be uncomfortable for a while and he'll get over it. Now, Paul says you suppress feelings, and every time you feel a thing, say a thing. And I bet he will hold space for you. Well, Paul, don't be so sure, because he also is allowed to make a decision. Mecca is allowed to say, I don't want to do it the way Belle Jolie does it, and I will leave. I'm not comfortable with the pace at which she's moving, and I will leave. Like, I wouldn't be so comfortable that people have to hold space for Belle Jolie, and nobody has to hold space for Mecca. That is a personal decision that you have to make. And so for me, like, I don't think it matters, right? Don't be so certain though that Mecca is going to hold space for Belle Jolie if she starts making requests of him. So Mecca passively said yes, and he's if they were to make a decision today, and he said it just wouldn't be a hell yeah. So he's a little bit, in my opinion, the only reason he's reserved is because he does not know what the future is going to look like, and he can't take another love for a partial lifetime. There's no guarantees in any of that, right? Like, love is a gamble, and for some people, they're just not able to conceptualize taking that risk, and especially when you've been hurt the way he's been hurt in his relationship with his mother and stepmother. So yeah, I think that that's what's going on with them at that session. The car ride home, I thought it was funny because we haven't gotten to that yet, but in the session, Shawn actually asks for a bath time with Nikki. He wants to put timelines on it. He wants action items on the physical intimacy piece. And Mecca says it was weird. He wanted that bath. And Belle was like, no, he didn't. He was just listing examples. And Mecca said if it was examples, he would have said that. And I absolutely 100% think that he gets how Shawn thinks. Shawn is being very real about the fact that he wants a bath time with Nikki. And I don't think that that was a example. That literally, that's on my to-do list with her, is I want a bath time with her. And yeah, I do think that that was just funny that he clocked what Shawn was doing. Now let me see. I want him to explain why it's not a heck yeah. Kiana, he's gonna say he's just not sure. He's not sure he can fall in love in 8 weeks, is what I'd bet he'd say. I don't think it's an issue with falling in love. It's the fear of falling out of love. It's the fear of her moving on without him the same way his mother and his stepmother did. And the thing is, people never think beyond the first step. So they always go to the simplest conclusion that they just aren't ready, when actually you're afraid of something and you're running from it. Like, that is a way easier way to do that. And then what is your tolerance for risk? Because love is a gamble, right? Like, it could go very right or very, very wrong. Doesn't matter how great of a communicator it is. And it doesn't matter how poor of a communicator you are. Love could go very right or very wrong, and you have no way to predict that. So it just is what it is. And I don't know. I'm also not mad at him for his responses to this, because it makes sense to me. I clearly look at him and I say, oh, that baby is hurt. And that baby need to go to therapy. And he needs to continue to work on that over time. It does not upset me at all. And it's funny because when I'm watching this, he does have a low tolerance for discomfort, which is why Mecca is sensing that. And she knows he's going to put on a pout face as soon as she starts to hold him to the fire for anything. The same way he was pouting when she simply said, we should have been home before 4:30 in the morning. She won't plan about that. You right. Don't be missing those sleep hours for that man. He should have had her home at a decent time. But the discomfort of possibly being seen as, I guess the word is disappointing as a partner, just doesn't sit well with him. But that's a part of being in a relationship. So, um, So I have no reason to think that he is bisexual, and I hate that people are feeling comfortable enough to say that online in spaces. We don't assume anybody's sexual orientation around here. People are allowed to be people, gender and masculinity and sexual orientation are all a spectrum. And what do labels do for us? Absolutely nothing. So if you want to label yourself, you can, but I would never label anybody else anything than what they told me. So if he tells me he's heterosexual, then that's exactly what he is. Um, and he's self-sabotaging things, but she loves him anyway. Exactly. Because I think she has enough emotional awareness and intelligence to say that yes, Mecca is self-sabotaging, but Belle Jolie, was raised in an environment where love doesn't come with conditions. It is unconditional. And when you mess up or where your shortcomings are, sometimes I have to coach you through those things, but that's okay. And I think that two things can be true. Your partner can be flawed and you could be much more emotionally intelligent, but it doesn't mean that those things won't switch and flip flop when it comes to other things. So what if her habits around finances are terrible and she's got a gambling addiction or something? I'm not saying she does, but you never know where one person's strong, another person could be weak, and he'd also have to make space for her if he wants to in his marriage. Things happen all the time. Belle would be so good for him. I hate to see her playing small for him though. I do too. I think that she could be bigger. I think that she could assert herself more, but I don't hate it for her. I think that it's a very natural thing to do, or a tendency in a relationship, especially new ones, is to kind of see how things work themselves out. You don't have to assert yourself every time you see something. I think you just need to, when you see something that you actually don't want to live with long term, and you have concerns that they think this is going to be long term, like this, like pickleball every day and what was it? Jet skiing every day, that needs to be addressed. But when you see little things like coming in at 4:30, we don't have to address that. Like I'm gonna give you 5 minutes on this conversation and we're gone. Like that will never happen again. When it comes to small things like, maybe you spent too much, we'll deal with that. The 5 minute conversation, I'm not going to stay stuck on that for too long. So Sabrina, that was part of what I said earlier. Maybe we came in a little late, but for me, that also doesn't scare me. The whole I'm not as attracted to you is another form of self sabotage with him. And it doesn't scare me because, like, I understand where it comes from is the feeling of being a disappointment. And people who fear rejection tend to create it. They will look for every opportunity to create a reason to push and distance you away from them and their real feelings. And so it's one of those things. Is she comfortable with that? Because it's going to happen throughout those first few years until he feels emotionally safe enough to let his guards down and stop self sabotaging. But it's not going to heal overnight. So those first couple years of marriage are going to be rocky, but that doesn't mean that it can't be done. And I know it can be done. Um, Now, somebody asked, can we talk about Nikki and Shawn? Absolutely. We're going to go into them. I'm not hearing or seeing anything on the YouTube side though. So we're going to hop right into Nikki and Shawn from Belgium and Mecca. Let's do it. Nikki and Shawn at the couples therapy meeting. They actually didn't have much going on. So this isn't exciting for me, but let's talk about Nikki and Shawn. Um, Nikki says that the trust is still growing for me. Shawn says, I know she has an issue with attraction. I love that he is very confident in himself and confident enough to withstand that. And that's what I mean too. I don't see anyone calling out Nikki for how often she reminds Shawn that she's not attracted to him, but we are calling out Mecca for BSing Belle, even though we know he's BSing her. We know, hey, China girl, meet me on YouTube, babes. I need you over on my YouTube page. We know that Belle is fine, and we know that Mecca is actually lying. Okay. And so when I hear Mecca say he's not attracted to Belle, I say, oh, that's a defense mechanism. That's self-sabotage. I don't care. I don't care at all. And actually, when I hear Nikki say that about Shawn, I know she's telling the truth. And so for me, that's actually worse because, oh, gotcha. Because I understand that she actually does not physically find him attractive. I do know and understand that Mecca and Belle have consummated their marriage. And so that also isn't a concern. She's happy with where they are physically. He's happy with where they are physically. They joked about their compatibility and not having issues in that department. None of that is concerning to me at all with Belle and Mecca. And the only reason we're saying that they need to break up is because we hate to see Black women uncomfortable. Again, we're okay with Black men being uncomfortable though. Because remember what y'all have been saying this whole live, and I'm not pulling this up out of thin air. It's been proven by the way these comments are responding that she needs to say what's on her mind. She needs to be more direct. Well, Nikki should never let Shawn touch her. And this is interesting because we're okay with the discomfort of the men, but we do not have the same tolerance for the discomfort of women. I think that it's interesting because I've even seen spaces online where we're comfortable with Devin being uncomfortable in his marriage to Caitlyn. And I say, why? Because my question mark is always raised about our own biases and where those come from. What have we internalized about messaging that makes us so insecure that we're pushing back on these men having needs that maybe we don't have? If those are not needs that you don't have to date that person, right? But they're allowed to express it within their marriage. Absolutely. Every need that these men have, Adam wanting a jet ski and pickleball girl, he's allowed to express that. Go find her because this ain't it. She's a mall, brunch, and nap girl. That ain't it. So what are you going to do? Also, too, Shawn, I need physicality before we start the whole emotional intimacy. That ain't Nikki. So what are you going to do? But I don't have a problem with these men expressing their needs. But I think it makes some of y'all uncomfortable. And we got to deal with that our own internal stuff to see where that's coming from. When Shawn says that I understand she's not attracted to me, that I love the confidence in that. Because a lot of people would fall apart right there at that sentence. Welcome in, China. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you. There's, to me, okay, Shawn saying there's not enough emotional availability is also him saying the other thing that's true about him. He feels as though emotional and physical availability are coexist. He doesn't feel like you can be unguarded with someone and be physically guarded. Does that make sense? Like some people actually believe that physical intimacy is equated to emotional intimacy. And for him, the two things are the same. And if you're guarded physically, then you're guarded emotionally. There's no in between. So when I see him discuss this, it makes perfect sense to me. For him, physical is emotional. Emotional is physical. For Nikki, emotional has to come before the physical. And that's not how he operates. So he always sees her as holding back. And he's brought that up at least 3 times that I can recall throughout this marriage. And that's important for him. So he needs to find someone that's more physically inclined than Nikki is. But Nikki also talks about the fact that she hasn't introduced him to the family because she doesn't feel good about where the relationship is right now, which is actually sad to hear as well. Can y'all imagine if the tables were turned and Shawn said that to Nikki? I don't feel good about where the relationship is, despite the fact that you're not meeting my physical needs. Um, and so I'm not going to introduce you to my family until we have sex. Because that's the equivalent, right? For him, the emotional equates to the physical. So she's saying emotionally, we're not where we want to be yet, so you can't meet my family. But imagine, just imagine if it were the other way around and you married someone who you're not even comfortable bringing around to your family and friends. And I'll let that sit with you. As you drift out to sleep, imagine your husband or your partner saying that to you tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep next to you, but just know you won't be meeting my family because I'm not comfortable enough with you yet. But we married though. But we've been in a long-term relationship where we're comfortable enough sharing our bed space together. That's a very intimate act, to fall asleep around someone. So I'm comfortable with that. But you can't meet my mama. You can't meet my cousins yet. You can't meet my my best friends. Like, let's talk about why we're so comfortable with that. And the only reason is because he's a male. If somebody said that to you, you would be crying. You would definitely cry. And there's nothing wrong if he did cry. I'm not saying that anything's wrong with him crying, but I actually appreciate him being confident enough to say all that out loud and have her say it out loud and still get up every day and choose Nikki. I actually think that that's a strength, not a weakness. Nikki says, Lisa says, this bothers me so much. When you're falling for someone, you should be proud and excited to show them to your friends and family. So the problem here, Dr. Lisa, is that you just said something out loud that you shouldn't have said. I don't think she meant any harm by it, but Nikki is not proud of Shawn. She's not proud to be with the short, bald-headed, fat black man that has to wear glasses and who got hips. She's not proud of that. Okay, so that is why she has not introduced him to her family, but you naming it gives it space to sit in the air, and it's uncomfortable. It is, because I watched it and I said, ooh, that's gotta burn. That is salt in the wound of why she's not doing it. She is embarrassed. She hasn't reached that hump where she's just like, this is my truth. This is my reality, that my husband doesn't look like I expected him to look. And so her brain is subconsciously pushing her away from pushing him to the front in her life and saying that this is the person I'm with. And then now Nikki says, but I'm ready to go to the next step. Are you? Or did you just say that because the experts are now pushing you to? Because it gives, if you were really ready, we wouldn't have to wait until this therapist just said that to you to see how you're shaming Shawn subconsciously. You are shaming him, Nikki, subconsciously. And when the cameras are off, how is the physical intimacy, is what Paul asks. And Shawn says, whenever we don't talk about it and it just happens, it's natural. When we do talk about it, she gets gun shy and she won't do the things, right? And Shawn says, but in her vows, she told me that it takes her a while to open up. So this is where we are at day 24. And putting that into perspective, if you know that about yourself, that it takes you a while to open up, why come on Married at First Sight? Why come on Married at First Sight when you know that you're not ready for Married at First Sight warped speed of things, okay? You need the Michelle approach to this. You need to lean into it a little bit more than what she is, because Michelle is the ideal. Michelle is the ideal candidate for this. Devin is the ideal candidate for this. There just needs to be a lean in if you're going to make a expedited process work. You cannot hold back. You cannot feel fear of what comes that week 8, because you can't control that anyways. Baby, I can't control it anyways, so I might as well lean all the way in. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. I mean, it is what it is. I think Nikki's not ready for that. Nikki said, we've had physical contact. It feels nice, but I wouldn't call it romantic. I said, woo, sister, my Lord, today, you're not supposed to say that out loud. You're you're not supposed to say that out loud. Like, I love Nikki, but she does not understand that you cannot tell somebody, I kiss you, I make out with you, but I don't really like it like that. I mean, it's okay, but it just ain't doing it for me romantically. Okay, so now what are we supposed to do with that, Nikki? Because I don't know. What is Shawn supposed to do with that? But he takes it to the face. Now, this is where I want y'all to realize that he really does not have that much. He doesn't have that much of an ego. As bad as y'all like to make him seem, if that was any other man, we saw the way that next episode he's gonna flip out about something else. But do you like, if he had the same temperament, this could have went completely different in that moment. He handled that hit to the face like it was nothing, bounced right back from it. It just wasn't a thing. Like, it's not romantic. I just be kissing and feeling on you to do it, baby. We try. I got time to waste. Let me just fill up on you, I guess. And then Lisa says, is there anything you could commit to regarding physical connection and family to Nikki? Nikki says, I'm on a journey and I want it to happen naturally versus a time crunch. Because you know who spoke up? Shawn. He said, can you commit to a bath? Can you commit to a kiss? Can you commit? Shawn had all the ideas, honey. He had been stockpiling them ideas for months. No, actually, it's just been weeks. I forget, this is a short experiment. For weeks. So I do feel as though what we're hearing here is that he is yearning for that. The same way she's yearning for an emotional connection. He's yearning for a physical connection. And both need to be prioritized. So that's really what it is. And then Cameron and Michelle in their confessional, they say it's hard to fake romance, and it is. Cameron says he doesn't think Nikki is physically into Shawn. You know she's not, Cameron. You know she's not. Thank you for the repost. Shawn and Nikki in their confessional, Shawn says, I'm leaning completely in, and I know you're trying. I'm saying go all in or move on. Period, Shawn. Period. And I know people don't like to hear you agree with Shawn, but period. Because I'm linked in, so you better lean in. You better meet me halfway, baby. Because if I'm leaning in, I need you to lean in. Lean in. All right, now we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to go through all the comments. Make sure you guys have dropped anything that you had to say about Shawn and Nikki in here, because I was paying attention, but now I've forgotten what you said. I feel like they both used the tool CPR to breathe life into their relationship. Agreed. I saw a huge shift after they talked to Paul that time. It was wonderful, magical. She's not falling for him. It's really, really hard. When you are not attracted to someone, the thing that actually can save it, though, is the physical intimacy. Who is watching me in here? I don't think there's anybody who I can't say this in front of. I apologize if you take offense to this, but if you get you the right eater, you're gonna fall in love. Let me see. That's why you can't say everything she said. Looks don't matter. Her calling herself a sapiosexual, Sabrina, was actually her biggest mistake. Her biggest mistake. She was her own ops. She was her own ops, and that is her problem. I hope she feels stupid. Okay, looking back at her interview tapes right now, like with us, I hope she feels stupid because you played yourself. You should have said, I'm looking for Idris Elba. I don't want no short man under 6 foot. He needs to be at least 6 feet and Idris Elba chocolate, not this kind of chocolate, not my granddaddy's flavor of chocolate. He needs to be the flavor that I like, Denzel Washington type of chocolate. Okay, Samuel L. Jackson chocolate. Like, this is what I'm looking for, not what you gave me. Doug and Jamie worked through not being attracted. They have a real strong marriage and 4 kids. They have beautiful children. They have a beautiful family. Jamie and Doug only worked because he has a Cordell spirit on him. And I think a lot of you guys are looking for Cordell type men. If you guys watched Love Island, you know what I'm talking about. The men that can put up with hit after hit, punch after punch, never asks for much back in response to you. Serena was allowed to walk around there and call him all type of B words and out his name and tell him F you anytime she felt like it. Y'all are looking for those men, and I'm telling you right now, you shouldn't be, because that's actually verbal abuse, and you're looking for people that just take it to the face. The way that she like cried on her wedding day because she thought he was so unattractive, and then never missed an opportunity to let him know that wasn't natural. Okay, there is a kindness that some men don't need from women, but I think it should be given to everyone, because I think we're all human and we all deserve a little bit more. So, yes, it can work, but I think that Doug is a great example of that Cordell type of man. And people are looking for absolute patience and long suffering. When would you give that advice to a woman? Would you give that same advice to Nikki if Shawn said, "Don't touch me? We can kiss, but I don't feel a romantic anything from it. We'll just make out because," and this, like, that would never be okay. So I want to hold the standard of intimacy the same between men and women. Show love like across the board. Like, just treat people well. He was ready after a few days. That's too fast. Actually, it's not. Have you been watching this, Shy Girly? Because I remember it was odd for people not to get busy on their honeymoon. It was odd, but I mean, it started to shift recently, but up until about season 11, half the couples at least would do it like the first 2 days. So the fact that they've gotten back from the honeymoon and they haven't is actually like more of a newer type of thing. People being more I guess conservative. I don't know. Nat, why come on a dating reality TV show at all was your question, because I remember when that popped up. So I think people are actually desperate for relationships. I really do. I think that they're tired. They see this casting call. Well, there'll be men on there. They'll marry me, and I'm sure I can make anything work. And they think that they're more ready than they really are. And I think that's the same thing with Courtney and Caitlyn that we're seeing. Y'all were not ready for nobody's marriage. Y'all were not ready, baby. And because of that, people are showing up on these shows that shouldn't be here. That was episode 15, Sabrina's, that he said things went further and he was coming out of the bedroom skipping. We'll get there tomorrow. Um I'm confused about how it's possible for her to be physical with him, and if she's a sapiosexual, how that's possible for her to be physical with him when if she's a sapiosexual. She's not sapiosexual. What I think she meant to say was, I want a good looking man, like stereotypically good looking Black man with intellect. And she should have prioritized it in that order. Instead, she said sapiosexual, and they took her literally. Sapiosexuals, real sapiosexuals, man, you start speaking to them about your love of archaeology or your love of, horticulture, they're going to love everything about that. Love it. Whatever you're into, if you have a deep wealth of knowledge about it, it makes you extremely romantically attractive to them. And that's not the case with her. She needs some of the physical, and the intellect kind of maybe smooths it out, but she really should have focused on that physical piece more than she did. You didn't see any of the men making claims like that. The men were very sure, this is my celebrity crush. This is what I'm looking for in my wife. And they were very specific, and they had no problems with being specific when it came to asking for a certain kind of wife. Let me see if I missed anything. I was tired of Cam and Michelle, to be honest. They were so judgy. Cam and Michelle recognize that they're the only strong couple. They not blind. They they not Ray Charles out here. They see that the other couples are fundamentally struggling, and they're like, we're not. We've compromised. We both come in willing to change for each other. And so they feel like they're untouchable at this point. So I will say, to their credit, they're doing a really great job. And I get why they're on their high horse, because they are compromising so well together. Now, I am going to, let's see if there's any other scenes between them. Did I forget anything about Shawn and Nikki? Oh yes, Shawn and Nikki, they have a conversation the next day about family integration, right? And she was like, I have this strong conviction about us having a place of comfort before you meet my family, and adding you into that, because I didn't feel proud to say that this was my husband. And I feel like, my girl, you're saying what Dr. Lisa just said, and he's just going along with it. Unless they edited his response to that out both times, I don't feel like he's moved by that. She's saying to him things that hit him in the face and in the chest, like she not throwing a blow when she says something like that. Yes, you are hitting Shawn in the chest, Nikki, when you say, I didn't feel proud to be like, this is my husband to my family. So that's why you haven't met them. Can you imagine? I told y'all, if this was the other way around and Shawn said that to Nikki, y'all would be in an uproar. Why am I not getting the same hysteria? It actually is sad to hear out loud your partner isn't proud enough of you to call you her husband amongst her family and friends yet. And I understand y'all had conflict, but that's just life. Y'all are going to continue to have that. She's going to switch up and be like, you can't come around my family for Christmas this year? Like, I don't know. And then she said, we can get you on the phone with my mom Monday or Tuesday, which is great. I love that she's planning and being intentional. Shawn says, the stuff we have been going through, my mom has been like, let me talk to Nikki so we can have support. And that's what family is supposed to do. Your best men, best women, they're supposed to be there to help you guys, which is why that role was intended to have so much weight to it. It was so that people knew that they had a support system. That support system is supposed to cover you guys and help you throughout your life together as a married couple. Nikki says, my mom was in the trenches with me for the first 2.5 weeks when I didn't feel heard and respected by you. And that's why you don't tell family all your business, because now he got to sit across the Thanksgiving dinner knowing that mama thinks he's a crazy person. You should have kept it to yourself until the show aired. Okay. Shawn says, I'm interested to see if hearing my side adds a little bit more context to the experience for both of us. So that was his takeaway. That mama ain't gonna like you, Shawn. She's always going to be a little bit fearful of what's next with you. Sabrina, that's what I like about him. He is unshakable. He will be a good foundation for a family. Agreed. I think the thing is, again, if he looked like Denzel Washington in his 40s, not his 60s, but if he looked like Denzel did in Training Day, we would not even have this conversation. And if we did, it would be very minuscule. It would be a very minuscule conversation to the bigger picture. And it would be a very small thing for Nikki to bypass the concerning parts. And whatever he caused him to skip out that room in the next episode would have came in episode 7, and it wouldn't have took until episode 15. I promise you that. If that was Denzel standing up there, very different story. Very different story. If that was Idris Elba, very different story. I'm trying to tell y'all, half the battle is being unattractive to the public. The marriage would have been consummated. You think she would have went all the way, period. I don't know, but I know she would have gotten to hear whatever they did. I feel like she would have gotten to hear in half the time. Like, I don't know if she would have consummated it, but I know for sure that this wouldn't be a discussion. Like, we would not be sitting up here like, oh, he keeps pressuring me. Oh, he's too sexual for me. That would not have been the discussion episode 7. No. I'm wondering if it's his body and height that she's not attracted to, because he's cute in the face. Let me respond to the first half. I think that yes, his body definitely plays into his attractiveness level for a lot of people. And height also for a lot of women, they're stuck on that for whatever reason. Height ain't never did nothing for nobody unless you're trying to raise the next LeBron James. What is height going to do for you? Like really and truly, that man could be 4'11". If he could pick you up, it don't matter. Like I really don't understand why when we became so obsessed with height. Like this is so strange to me. Um we're talking about Shawn and Nikki from season Married at First Sight, season 20, episode 14, and their relationship together. The fact that Nikki would have been a little bit more amicable, and so would the audience if the audience and Nikki both found Shawn to be very, very attractive. And yeah, that this whole thing is just, it sucks, right? Because I think he's so confident in himself that it's upsetting to women. It's hard to believe that an ugly man would be audacious enough to believe that he deserves to be desired by his wife. And I'm sitting over here thinking, why wouldn't he expect to be desired by his wife? Am I confused? Like, I get it. This is a expert wedding or marriage or match, but I still expect to be desired by my husband. I don't care how unattractive the world finds me. This is my expectation. And to continue to say, I'm not proud enough to let you meet my mom, or I'm not that attracted to you, is a slap in the face. That's pretty much what that is. Now, have we missed anybody? Oh, Devin and Caitlin. I'm so sorry, y'all. Okay, we do have to talk about Devin and Caitlin because we did skip over them. Thank you for sharing out the live. I appreciate you, my love. Thank you, thank you. Devin and Caitlin, we had the conversation this week about my past. This is Caitlin talking to the group. And he made me feel safe enough to do that. And it was really nice to talk to him about that. And then Devin says that because she shared that with me, I now know why she's been so hesitant to pushing through this relationship. And Caitlin says I was leaning into my masculine energy. And I hate that. And now I can just be soft. Okay, I want to tell you that this is stupidity at its best. And I have all like, there's nothing that frustrates me more than hearing someone say that masculinity is equated to coldness. You were cold, you were guarded, you were rude. Okay, those are not masculine traits to me. Those are just you. That is who you showed up as in the first couple weeks of your marriage to this man. And I hope you're happy with yourself, but don't call it masculine, because I think this is the idea of toxic masculinity that resides in most of society. That is toxic, that is nasty behavior, but that is not masculine behavior to me. And I don't want little boys and little girls equating that to being masculine or feminine. Is how you treat people. That is a choice. Okay. Caitlin chose to be mean to Devin and to be emotionally guarded with him. And so that's not masculine. It's not feminine. It is a choice. And that whole black cat thing is a choice. Like, you could lean into this experience and choose to be unguarded with him emotionally, but you choose to be a black cat. So that's how your marriage has ended up in this exact position. So when I started hearing feminine and masculine and divine energy, I stopped listening. I tune out all the way, Gabriella. I refuse. I don't know what y'all got going on in your world, but in mine, people are just people. And so when a person says to me that I am sweet, I am kind, that's a good person. When people say that they're cold and guarded, you are not a great person to me. I'm sorry. I don't want to be in a circle with that kind of energy. So I just think we need to do better. It really does simplify things way too much for me, and I'm uncomfortable with it. But yeah, that's it, I think, from this episode, guys. Unless y'all have other things that maybe I forgot to talk about from episode 14, but I tried to keep up with my couples notes and make sure that I talked about everybody. This group therapy session, I hope was enlightening. I'm going to put up my episode 14 recap tomorrow. I'm going to try to get that done tonight so it's already uploaded to YouTube. I have been putting reminders in my stories to have y'all redirect and go there for the full recap, especially if you can't make it to the lives. I understand. I do these pop-up lives around like 5. Today I was on the support line trying to get my camera fixed. Still didn't do that, guys. So I apologize to my YouTube viewers, but I was trying to get my Sony ZV-1 to hook up, and I could not get it to transmit my images to YouTube. And so that was the delay today. So I started like an hour late, and I'm just gonna have to try it again another day. But for right now, the phone is working. So we've got 2 phones, 2 devices lined up. So you guys can at least join the conversation if you want to. Guys that are in here, thank you so much for joining us on the TikTok side as well. As always, we're trying to push you over to the YouTube side. So if you guys have another device, you're at home or you're on your phone, sign in on YouTube. That helps us with our watch hours. We're trying to get to 4,000 by the end of the year. So we'll have you guys transitioning over to YouTube so we don't lose this community as well. Right now, I'm just dual streaming because that's easier than hand picking everybody out to come to YouTube. I know it's a hard transition for folks to come over and switch sometimes for whatever reason. People are just weird about switching from one platform to the other. It's the same thing, guys. I promise you. It is the same thing, same aspect ratio and all, but we're going to continue to work on it. You just continued the episodes. We'll come back here tomorrow. I think I'm planning to go live tomorrow. And we should be back on episode 15 to kind of wrap up these 3. They were good episodes. I feel like they were really, really good episodes, 13, 14, and 15. You can see my full review on YouTube. I've uploaded them to my shorts at That's So Trending over there, same as it is here. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Now, YouTube, for you too, thank you guys so much for rocking with me over on this side. I appreciate it. And I'll be back here as well to dual stream, probably from my phone, because I don't know if I'll have enough time to get everything worked out by then. Bye, guys. If I can figure out how to get off.